See the 4.6 billion years of life evolution on Earth in one go. What kind of experience is it? About 4.6 billion years ago, diffuse gases and particles in the solar system. After billions of years of contraction, and in the constant collision and condensation of the heart, our Earth was formed. But the Earth is very hot at this time. No hard surface, only the vast face. The temperature even exceeds 1,200 degrees Celsius. 4.5 billion years ago, a planet called Ava collides with Earth. The shock wave it generates spreads rapidly. Large amounts of debris are ejected into space under the influence of the attack. Eventually our moon was formed, and because of this violent collision, it also caused the Earth's rotation at that time. The speed becomes very fast. There are only 6 hours in a day. Over the next 300 million years, with asteroids and comets, under the constant and violent collision of stars, makes the Earth sigh in the abyss. At the same time, heat from volcanic eruptions and meteorite impacts. It also brings a lot of moisture. In this way, a heavy rain continued for millions of years. Finally, 4.2 billion years ago, formation of the primordial ocean. The Earth has since become an ocean planet, and the conditions for conceiving life began to emerge. About 3.9 billion years ago, life first appeared on Earth. It is the origin of all things, a single-celled organism called Luca. Then time came to 2.6 billion years ago. At this time, the land melt has been erupting for millions of years. A large amount of toxic gas filled the entire sky. Earth is covered in a giant cloud of methane. The entire appearance appears as a yellow celestial body. But at this time, plankton appeared in the ocean. Their cell structure is more complete. Even evolved photosynthesis. Start to produce a lot of oxygen and gather. Transformed the Earth into a blue planet. This is the Great Oxidation Event. It is precisely because of this incident, leading to the consumption of greenhouse gases in the air. This caused the Earth's temperature to drop suddenly. 2.4 billion years ago, the Earth has experienced a long, the Huronian Ice Age, which lasted tens of millions of years. During this period, the process of life was interrupted. The Earth has become a snowball. With the large amount of heat brought by submarine volcanic activity, chamber gases gradually melted the glaciers. Warm sunshine once again bathes Earth's oceans. In the hundreds of millions of years that followed, life evolves very slowly. Until one day, 1.6 billion years ago, eubacteria and osteomycetes accidentally merged, and gradually evolved into true and living creatures. Became a great figure in the history of biological evolution on Earth. Miracle time came 600 million years ago. Gen biology finally ushered in a burst of hairstyle evolution. A large number of soft cells are mostly vertebrates begin to appear. Them forming the most unique Ediacaran biota. In the face of abundant resources and suitable environment, coupled with the lack of natural enemies, this made the creatures of this period choose to be content with the status quo. Finally, 540 million years ago, the emergence of amputees became a nightmare for these lower invertebrates. They walked on the bones of Ediacaran animals, keep going, and pulled apart the Earth. The first grand curtain in the history of biology contains 5 seasons of life explosion. The ocean here is unprecedented. The first generation of overlord Anomalocaris is unscrupulous. Hunting, trilobites with hard armor are also waiting. Gierdon and Aruobabin seafood. Various strange shaped creatures such as strange nitrogen forms. At the same time, the earliest vertebrates on Earth also appeared. A fish-like creature called hycofish. It is because of their existence This formed such a spectacular ancient ocean. Time came to 510 million years ago. The land was barren at this time, not suitable for life. And near the land, near the ocean, some species began to take the lead in launching the challenge. First, a symbiotic complex of algae and fungi. It is precisely because of this magical combination that, to conquer this impoverished land, his greatest masterpiece, this undoubtedly caused the military to spread underground, then slowly break down the hard rock. Thus, the first soil was born on Earth, paving the way for later plants. Soon, the first plant species appeared on land, moss. Their leaves have only one layer of cells. Although it cannot grow upwards, but it can advance at an extremely fast rate of reproduction. In a very short time, it covered the entire continent, and over the next 40 million years, became the only overlord on Earth at that time. Next, let's go back for 168 million years. The ocean at this time, there have been earth-shaking changes, and a new era of life blooms. This is the Ordovician radiation of life. Compared to the Cambrian, mollusks began to flourish. Mollusks begin to thrive, and always stage the moment of life and death duel. The trilobite family still exists, and their crops became stronger. And those opponents naturally become more terrifying. When the body length can reach 9 meters, successfully defeated Anomalocaris became the new generation of ocean overlord. At the same time, a very important new life has also emerged. The world's first early fish with a backbone. Din turtle. They will create amphibians later. Reptiles, mammals, birds, etc. But the ancestors of modern humans, still at the beginning of a long journey. As time passes again, 460 million years ago, successive dangerous plants on land evolved lignin. This will make them grow bigger. To fight for the sun, they also started a fierce competition. A shocking plant outbreak has officially arrived. But what is unexpected is that it is in this 20 million year history that all things, a time of booming development, the Earth has ushered in a historic, the first extinction event. Ordovician extinction, 445 million years ago. Because of the atmosphere, rapid decrease in carbon dioxide levels, the Earth loses the protection of greenhouse gases. The temperature has reached an extreme level. The seawater cools rapidly and freezes. More than half of the world's surface is frozen into glaciers. And under this beautiful and enchanting ice crystal pattern, it has also become the grave of all things. This incident directly caused 85% of the deaths. But some of them, adaptable organisms, choose to migrate to deep sea areas so that the spark of life can be preserved. Nightmares always end one day. 2 million years after the Great Freeze, global temperatures are slowly rising. An extremely gorgeous meltdown has begun. Lasted for thousands of years. Almost all glaciers have disappeared. The Earth returned to its blue color and entered the period of retention of life recovery. During this period, not only did it take more than 20 million years, repairing the wounds of the ordnance extinction, a great change is brewing. As the Earth's temperature rises, plankton begins to reproduce in large numbers, although the armored animal is satisfied. During this period, the seas were ruled, but the once humble vertebrate fish then began to exert force quietly. They spent a long time, evolved a movable jaw. Finally, 400 million years ago, with the explosion of the fish age, the Earth has officially entered the era of mud spray. During this period, the ocean, it is undoubtedly a paradise for vertebrates, and fish show high diversity. Among them, the representative of stute fishes. More suitable, you became the leader of the Devon, the largest ocean predator of our time. Their body length is 10 meters. Weighing for tons, it not only has extremely hard armor, its bite force is also amazing. Even when the hardness is very high, can also be crushed into pieces in one bite. It can be said that he has an amazing jaw, combined with the spine of the talisman. Such a perfect combination. This allowed subsequent vertebrates to move forward. At the same time, the land is no longer just a simple moss and naked ferns. The plant grows into a ginseng tree more than 10 meters high. A forest of giant trees is rapidly forming. Optimized soil and atmosphere composition. Land life begins to bloom. As the first amputee to land, he also became the first overlord of this pristine rainforest. One day 370 million years ago, there was a major miracle in the history, biological evolution, the only lobe-fin fish that breathes with lungs, under the constant oppression of blunt-skinned fish. First crawled to the beach, completed the landing feat. That's why. Only then did they create the world's land, the largest vertebrate minefield. It can be said that all birds and beasts today, even humans, evolved from this. Perhaps it is because the existence of Genshishi is too unnatural. Nature finally made up her mind to start over. 360 million years ago, undersea volcanoes and geomantic tillers suddenly erupted one after another. The boiling magma caused the sea temperature to rise rapidly. Let this originally thriving ocean. From then on, he fell into a terrifying purgatory. Although half of the group failed to cross the tribulation, but the fish still managed to survive. Until next, as plankton numbers explode, the oxygen content in the ocean dropped rapidly. This not only made the once invincible dead completely withdrawn from the stage of history, it caused the death of 75% of marine life. Coastlines around the world are dotted with the wreckage of life. This is the second species extinction in the history of the Earth, Devonian extinction event. But the land at this time is a different scene. Time comes to the Carboniferous period, 345 million years ago. Back then, the continents were not as spread out as they are today. It is in a gradual aggregation process. Large areas of tropical rainforests are also concentrated here. The climate during this period is warm and humid, covered with lush forests and swamps. This also leads to the Earth's oxygen content reaches unprecedented peak moment. The oxygen concentration is even twice as high as it is now. It is also affected by this. During this period, many abnormally large cuts appeared. Arthropods. For example, there is a giant dragonfly that is larger than an eagle, a giant waist stump over 1 meter long, and body shape. Giant roads that can reach up to 3 meters and are brutal in nature. Therefore, the Carboniferous period is also called the age of giant insects. The fleshy lacquer fish that have already made the feat of landing also evolved into charcoal mud with limbs. Not only has it become the top predator in the Carboniferous waters, eater, it also marks the beginning of the era of amphibians. Open. Time came to 320 million years ago. Earth's landmass over time merged into one Pangaea continent. Since then, the inland climate has become very dry. The forest that once blocked out the sun has collapsed. Rivers and swamps have almost disappeared. Large areas of land began to become desertified. This significantly reduces the oxygen concentration. These giant insects, eventually, they perish due to their inability to adapt. This is the Carboniferous lone rainforest collapse. Some amphibians need to lay eggs in water. Due to the reduction of water sources, de-evolution stone. The outer membrane of the egg gradually turns into a hard shell. This will allow it to be shoveled onto land, thus forming the first egg on Earth. At the same time, some amphibians also evolved into wool. Animals which makes them can be completely free from the restrictions of water sources. Explore further afield. The Earth. This marked the beginning of the last era of the Paleozoic era. An era of giant beasts dancing wildly. Permian over time. 300 million years ago, the sheep demon animal at this time already spread across the entire Pangaea continent and differentiated into Higongang, two species of the order Osmanthus dynasty. The endless battle officially begins from this moment. But at that time, Sejiogang, represented by Dunjalon, is still very weak, although the body length can reach 3.5 meters, wearing heavy armor. But they feed on plants. On the other hand, Higongang's representative one-foot beast. But it became the top predator in the second disc era. They are more than 3 meters long, full size up to 15 cm. Feeds on western steel creatures such as Dunja dragon. Although Higongang was at the peak of his career at that time, but there are also outliers. For example, the timid water dragon. The slightest movement can scare them back into their caves. Whole. Maybe it's because of this character. After it escaped. A horrific mass extinction event. Time came to 251 million years ago, accompanied by a loud bang. Located now, a super-large magma column suddenly erupted on the seabed of Sichuan province. A huge earthquake instantly tore apart the seabed plate and affected active volcanic areas in Siberia. Trillions of tons of magma erupted from the ground, and it spread across the world at a rapid speed. Eventually swallowed up half of Pangaea. Although some animals can escape. But the disaster is not over yet. Then the volcanic ejecta rained down and caused a large-scale wildfire. The food chain is broken. The entire ecosystem has completely collapsed. All animals died in the struggle. The Earth fell into silence. This is the worst Permian earthquake in history. Mass extinction event. In this natural disaster, not only did it completely destroy the Gundam on Earth, 95% of species, even once, the Earth's ecosystem has evolved over billions of years. Destroyed. But fortunately, there is still a glimmer of hope for all things. Fungal organisms. First, extreme adaptability takes over the doomsday cemetery. After tens of thousands of years of recovery. 250 million years ago, the Earth finally opened the door to the Great Wood of the Mesozoic era. Triassic due to the early post-mass extinction. There are almost no large-scale predators. This allowed the water dragon beast population to flourish. From the bottom of the food chain, straight to the top. During this period, the number of water dragon beasts, accounting for 3/4 of all terrestrial vertebrates. This is a feat that no other animal has ever achieved. But such a rule will obviously not last long. With the change of the terrain in the 3 seasons, the temperature of Pangaea began to soar. In the center of the land, the temperature in the area even reached 60 degrees. Thus, the largest desert in the history of the Earth was born. Throughout history, few animals can survive in the desert. But lizards are an exception. its strong adaptability, so that they can rise from the desert. Finally, 248 million years ago, the once inconspicuous little lizard gradually evolved into a powerful hidden evil. Not only does it have strong defensive capabilities, also mastered powerful disadvantage skills, and will dominate the Earth. Nearly 4 million years old, Lystrosaurus used as a buffet. From then on, the Earth has officially entered the Reptilian dynasty. During this period, various reptiles appeared one after another, making competition on land extremely fierce. At the same time, the persistent drought also caused the Earth's temperature to reach the critical point 234 million years ago, deep in the extremely arid Pangaea. A long-awaited heavy rain fell. During the 2 million year humid period, it also completely changed the face of the entire continent. This is the famous Kanichihanji incident. Various short green plants, growing like mushrooms after rain. The once dry land became moist. The grassland gradually turned into a forest. The Earth's species also began to undergo a major replacement. Previously, those that evolved due to drought could only eat short, grass-eating animals, unable to adapt to changes in the environment, gradually heading towards extinction, and the bad turtles and mammals, beginning to enter the stage of Earth history. 230 million years ago, the birth of the southern cross dragon, the direction of Earth purification has begun to change. At first they were very small. With the increase of carbon monoxide, make their size bigger and bigger. Finally, the main solvents began to appear on the historical stage. Although the Earth, it took 50 million years. The ecosystem was restored. But in the end, you can't escape the judgment of fate. 203 million years ago, frequent crust, the movement caused a series of volcanic eruptions around the world, and emits huge amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and methane gas. Increasing greenhouse gases causes climate warming and ocean hypoxia, etc. 76% of species are unable to adapt to the drastic changes in the environment, eventually disappear from the Earth. This is the Triassic mass extinction event. But fortunately, Archosaur dinosaurs were miraculously chosen by history. Time came to the Jurassic period 200 million years ago. The dragon clan will rise strongly in this era. Pterosaurs and birds take to the skies. Mammals appear. Amazing evolutionary events occurred one after another. Dinosaurs officially took over the Earth's dominance. There are many representative organisms. For example, the giant Diplodocus, which is up to 27 meters long, the first pterosaur to conquer the sky. Cynodon, the brutal overlord of the ocean. Etran, the top land predator. And the Stegosaurus, which can use its tail as a weapon. Even the oldest true mammals, Chinese Jurassic beast, etc. It can be said that the success of the dinosaur dynasty, not just the length of the reign. These strange creatures, with the help of the environment, such a stunning scene of life bloomed. 145 million years ago, the Earth finally welcomed the biological species. A major outbreak of white evil. During this time, countless colorful flowers began to appear, and use surrounding animals to spread pollination. Enabling plant diversity reached another heyday. At the same time, the dinosaur dynasty reached its peak. During this period, the pterosaur soared into the sky, competing with pterosaurs for air supremacy. Amphibious Geelong launches battle with primitive evil for control of the river. The largest land dinosaur, Poseidon dragon, stands high above and overlooks the Earth. A huge crocodile is watching closely at the river bank. The flying dragon shuttles through the jungle. A dragon with a sickle-like claw. Hunting in partnership. The largest ceratopsian dinosaurs, Triceratops, are fighting each other. The Wikiaxi River has transformed, became a huge blue dragon, dominated the entire Bilagy Ocean. And Tyrannosaurus rex, the monarch of Tyrannosaurus, emerge, dominated the entire Bilagy continent. It can be said that the Earth's creatures have completely entered a heyday. But it is such a powerful, the shaken biological empire. Finally, a historic moment has arrived. 65 million years ago, a diameter of about 10 kilometers circumpolar asteroid, up to per hour, flying towards the Earth at a speed of 70,000 kilometers, crash in Mexico. The waters where the Yucatan Peninsula is located. The explosion produced by the impact was equivalent to 11 times the atomic bomb. Violent impact. Let those within a radius of 1,500 kilometers. All life turned to ashes. More than 3 trillion tons of debris were ejected into space. The shock wave travels at speeds of thousands of kilometers per hour and caused a huge smile. Many animals died in the water. Although the large dinosaurs were able to escape, but the disaster is far from over. Immediately afterwards, the explosion produced a shower of ejecta. The high-temperature particles caused a large area of coral, whether on land or in the air. All the dinosaurs had nowhere to escape. The dust in the sky blocked out the sunlight. Lasts for decades. Not only did it plunge the Earth into extreme cold weather, plants are also unable to photosynthesize and withered away, and those dinosaurs that survived, they all died because they could not adapt to the changes in the environment. The entire ecosystem collapsed. The Earth fell into silence. So far, in this brutal mass extinction of white evil, end of the most fascinating dinosaurs in the history of biology era. After the mass extinction had completely ended, giant creatures will no longer exist. Rapid radiation of small mammals, the evil ones overcome the difficulties, the return of the Fae to the ocean, etc. All in all, the animals that survived all had one characteristic: small size and strong adaptability. During that glorious dynasty, they are at the bottom of the food chain. Now he has become the biggest winner. But because the dinosaur bloodline is too powerful, so that after countless years of extinction, it can still exist in another form. For example, in the ancient well record about 62 million years ago, Guanyanus inherited the rare dinosaur bloodline. They carry the wool from ancient times. After the extinction of dinosaurs, it became the king of land again. About 60 million years ago, the tropical rainforest gave birth to countless insects and began to multiply. In this process, they also spread pollen, paving the way for the plant dynasty that followed. About 55 million years ago, the first true primates appeared. They are small, only 50 centimeters, considered human, ancient relatives of humans and monkeys. At the same time, large branch of mammals. The tidal and the occasional tidal finally appeared. But the strange thing is, some occasional animals return to the ocean, become the ancestor of the Fae. Among them, the eighth fund is the oldest ant, the most primitive whale. They are similar in appearance to dogs, full body hair, lives primarily in freshwater environments, feeds on predatory fish, although they can survive on land. But I can't keep walking. 34 million years ago, Antarctica is getting colder. Then a large amount of fresh water resources were frozen. In this case, it also makes the northern regions drier. This also gave mammals the opportunity to rise. For example, the largest land, Andrewsutheria, a carnivorous mammal, a submersible statue of the ancestor of modern elephants, a huge and ferocious predator, the largest terrestrial mammal, Smilodon, a close relative of the modern tiger, and the closely related Tridontia that we are looking for today. That is, during this period, organisms also began to gradually have more. The face of modernization, 21 million years ago. As the continental plates continue to move, Eurasian plate, it is always on par with the Indian Ocean plate, a state of uncertainty. This has resulted in the seabed being eroded along the 2,500 kilometers fed. The river line rises upward, finally formed the present, the majestic Himalayas, and Mount Everest, the world's highest peak. Then time went on to 15 million years ago. The Australian continent has drifted northward millions of years, and in this process, a vast shallow sea area was also formed. This is also a new cradle of life. Not only does it allow countless fish to thrive here, it also gave birth to the strongest shark in the history of the Earth, Megalodon. They can reach up to 20 meters in length, weighs about 100 tons. The maximum bite force is at least 20 tons. Can easily crush whale ribs. It is the first bite discovered in the history of the Earth. The strongest creature on land affected by global climate change. This period became open grassland and the gold of the prairie. Here and over the next 10 million years, stimulated the re-evolution of mammals. It was during this period primates split into two branches. A line evolved into monkeys. Another line evolved into chimpanzees. In the process of evolution, chimpanzees fell behind 7 million years ago. Ultimately, they did not evolve into intelligent creatures. About 4.4 million years ago, the earliest batch, the origin of upright walking hominids, but because of the many threats on land, so they spend most of their time living in trees. Only when hungry, only then will they go down to the ground to look for food. About 3.9 million years ago, the southern ancient plains evolved from the earth plains. To survive, an unprecedented mass migration began. Not only was there not enough food on the way, they are often attacked by various wild beasts and natural disasters. This was also the most difficult period for human ancestors. Finally, 1.8 million years ago, the emergence of Homo erectus. This is how humans developed their limbs and a flexible mind, and learned to use fire and various weapons. With the continuous evolution and migration since primitive society, gradually, human footprints spread across the Eurasian continent, and in just a few hundred years, created one miracle after another. Eventually, humans, standing at the top of the Earth's food chain, dominating the entire Earth.